it must make it somewhat interesting when you meet a man and you mention that by profession you're a psychic. And I wonder, do they shrink away, or do they gravitate more, or do they sort of ask you questions? I mean, what is that like for you?
So what you're saying is, what's it like to date a psychic?
Exactly.
By the way, we don't read for ourselves. So you would think with all of these great gifts, we would be able to, limelight for ourselves, so to speak, but we don't, we can't. And I have good radar, but it's women's instinct, that's about it. So there's two types of men that want to date a psychic. So that, in my experience so far, for me,
Okay.
my personal experiences are the men who date you and you think they're totally into you and you're excited to go on a date, and you sit down and you tell them what you do for a living, and then the next 2 dates it's like dating a cop. It's like question after question after question after question. What's it like? What's it like? Well, how do you do this? How do you do that? And all they want to do, they only want to date you to find out how it works. I mean, it's
a fascination with.
And I have been sitting and tried to bring the conversation around to what they do for a living, or let's talk about you. We don't want to talk about me, and it's just constant. And they don't want to talk about them. They just want to know how psychics work and how does it. I went out with on a date one date with what I thought was going to be a good date. It was a psychiatrist.
Oh.
Thinking, well, okay, we probably have a lot to talk about, right? Oh no, he was literally the psychiatrist that wanted to know how it worked, this, that, wanted me to read people in the restaurant that we were in. I mean, I just said, check please.
Yeah,
and I left. So you have those kind of gentlemen, or you have the gentlemen that want to date you because they can say they dated a psychic.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Because you're a rare breed.
apparently,
I think so.
apparently. So, so they can say they dated a psychic. Or then there's one more kind where you go out with them, and I have a tendency to tell people that the gentlemen, you meet them and they want to go out with you, that I'm an artist, because I do a lot of art. I sell my art, my paintings, so that's not a lie.
No.
So I try to stay away from the psychic stuff due to the last two experiences I just told you about. Okay. So hence I try to stay away from the psychic stuff.
Initially.
But it'll, you don't want to start anything if you really like the person, on a false pretense.
Right.
So I will be forthcoming in the date, and literally they'll say, check please.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I've had 2 people get up and walk out because they found out I was a psychic. Yeah. So it's either the ones that you have to tell me you're an artist, they find out you're psychic, they want nothing to do with you, or it's the people that want to date you because they want to know everything about how it works. And I have yet to have a date where they just want to talk with Lori. What's it like to date a psychic? Difficult, apparently.
Yeah.
So I just had a gentleman in the last couple of weeks say to me, well, it must be hard to date someone like you because I could never get away with anything. You'd know it all. And I said,
you don't know it all.
Probably, so until I get too close to them, I can pretty much see what's going on. So I had a few dates with this gentleman, and he's in a different country. And so I called one day just to say, hey, I know you went on a date last night. And he goes, that's not fair, da da da, So, it can be a curse sometimes for your own life. We don't read for ourselves, but there are times where we do know things that are going on. It's like people who have dreams the next day that something happens. And it's like that for me, especially when it comes to the negative stuff. My experience has been if you call someone on something that you are being told by your spirituality, by your guides, 9 times out of 10 it's been right on. So it's like women's instinct. It's a gut instinct.
But you've had a relationship where they were fine with you being a psychic, I assume.
I have had one, yes.
Only one?
Just one relationship that's been fine with me being a psychic, yes.
That's a shame.
So, it lasted about a year. So, and then because I am psychic, I could foresee what he was doing, and it was one too many people in the relationship for me. So, and
he must not have trusted your abilities because
correct.
he wouldn't have tried that.
No, when I called him on it, he didn't lie, and sure enough, unfortunately, my psychic stuff was correct. It's really difficult to get a date as a psychic. It's really difficult. I just want to go on a date where they just want to know me, not how does it work, or...
Maybe you should date a psychic.
That'd be scary. That would be scary. There's so much competition out there in the world, and I'm not a competitive person by nature, really. But, there's enough room for all of us, the big world.
Sure.
I don't think I'd want to date a psychic any more than people want to date me. That's a good point.
Oh.
I have nothing to hide, but I just
No.
think it's too close to home for me, you know? So I like the musician kind, you know, who's open and spiritual and does what they want, and I can do what I want, you know? Meaning having separate lives,
yeah,
when
sure.
you come together, you know, you're a couple, but, you know, he can live his life, I can live my life, and yet we're also a couple. I'm really a big believer in that. So it's taken me a long time to get to that point in my life. I'm there now, so.
And even if you're in love, do you think the ability is still just as strong? Not that you become sort of separated from it in a way because you want to like leave that aside. I mean, you can't just leave it aside when
No, it's always there.
It's always there.
So dating a psychic is both scary and fun, and if you just get through that patch, I can't always see everything, so just give me a chance.
Yeah.
An honorable man that doesn't have a problem with me being psychic, that doesn't have a lot to hide,
Sure.
would be great.